This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread. Today, we're going to continue our discussion into leadership. And specifically today, I want to deal with how to train leaders in all areas of your business. It has been said the most effective measure of leadership is the performance of the team in your absence. And that is so true. It's applicable not only in business, but in everything that requires teamwork. In your business, though, if you, the business owner, can leave for a period of time and the business or the company continues forward, not in an equal trajectory, but in an accelerated or a climbing trajectory as far as whatever metric you want to earn or judge, then your leadership is effective. I was consulting with a business owner some 2 or 3 years ago, and he's trying to prepare his business to sell, leave his business. And one of the things I asked him to do was, let's schedule a long hiatus, a sabbatical, if you will, that he could leave the organization for about 3 weeks to 4 weeks without checking in during the peak of the year. Now, when I first recommended he do that, he looked at me kind of silly and thought I had lost my ever-loving mind. I'm going to be honest with you. He's like, Justin, you are killing me, man. If I do that at this particular time of the year, then I can make or break my business. Now, what he was voicing was a issue of fear, which I certainly understand, trust me. But what he was also voicing was his discomfort with his own leadership abilities. So we set a timeout. We knew the time of the year that this hiatus or this sabbatical should take place, and we made the team aware. And then we spent the following 9 months working toward that particular event. And lo and behold, the time came, and sure enough, even though I didn't think he was going to do it, he left the phone, turned the media off, and he and his lovely bride traveled and did their thing for 3 weeks. No one helped the business. And when he comes back, the team was prepared for him, and the business grew in that 3 weeks' time. They had more clients than they had when they left. The sales were up. Everything was just in good shape. That is an effective measure of leadership. An excerpt from the CLO Media article with Leadership Development for All says the following, and I thought this was valuable, so I pulled it out. It says, developing individual leadership competencies will only take an organization so far. The most successful corporations find ways to engage and inspire the masses, which then will act with urgency each and every day. Leadership is not defined by where one sits in the hierarchical, but by the behavior that person exhibits. The most important leadership capability an organization can foster in the 21st century is, and I thought this was important, the ability to create and recreate sustainable urgency aligned around a critical business opportunity. This means at least 50% of the employees are exceptionally alert, externally oriented, relentlessly aimed at success, and determined to make progress every day. Now, friends, that is very eloquent. I thought a lot of big words for me, but I thought it was great. What I thought was most amazing on that was this. It said individual leadership. We have to deal with individual leaderships within the organization. It's not one person or the department heads. It's everybody. That's number one. I thought it was important. I found it was able to engage the masses. I thought that was powerful. You want to engage everybody within the organization, not just one. It's urgency day in, day out, every day. It's not defined as where one sits. Just because somebody is a manager or the C position doesn't mean anything, but it's behaviors. But overall, it's the ability to create and recreate. Create and recreate sustainable urgency aligned around a critical business opportunity. Wow, that to me made sense. Okay, I get that. But here's my question that I've been asking myself as I've been studying leaders for some period of time now. We've been talking about it. I want to deal with how do we become the most effective measurement of leadership by having the team perform in our absence? How can we get that sense of urgency where we create and recreate without the key manager, without the business owner involved? So I'm going to give you a couple of points here. on how to build leaders in your company. The very first, it starts at the very beginning, and that is to hire right. Hire the right people. Hire right. Jim Collins says in his book, Good to Great, he says, get the right people on the bus. Get them on the bus. Get the right people on the bus and then put them in the right seats. We have to hire right. So many times, though, especially what we're dealing with right now. Right now, we have a low unemployment rate in the United States, and it's hard to find good people. It is. And good people are able to demand a little bit more income than poor performers. But if we don't give in to our dream and we keep the dream paramount, then we can hire the right people. We can get the right people on the bus. Whenever you're building leaders in your organization, you have to make sure that from the very beginning, you hire the right people. We're actually dealing with this in our office. We're hiring some individuals right now, and one of our team members is working hard at streamlining this process to make sure that the individuals come in, meet the standards, meet the goals, meet every one of our expectations. We've turned away about 15 now different parties who would love to work with us, but they just don't fit us right. See, I found out if you spend the time hiring right, then you don't have to fire fast. You hire slow, fire fast. That's the old saying. But you hire right. So in order to build leaders, you have to hire the people who want to be leaders. You have to hire the people who want to participate in the vision. That's number one. Number two, you have to have a high standard for leaders. If someone is automatically titled with a leadership position's title, then the standard for that individual has to be above and beyond that of a rank and file, that of a entry-level position, or that of the people who are being led. You have to have high standards. Some organizations require amount of production. Some organizations require amount of acumen. They require amount of time. They dedicate time to the job. So however your particular business is working, whether it be through production, whether it be through sales, whether it be through time in the bench, if you're an attorney, you're not trying to sell, you're just trying to bring in billable hours. Maybe that's your standard. Whatever the standard is, your leaders have to have a high standard. You have to. Think about this. Not just anybody can go to the Olympics. Whatever sport you like, there's a standard that you have to have before you're even eligible to go to the Olympics. And then once you get to the Olympics, then you find out if your standard is that for the gold. If you are, in fact, leaders of the world in that particular sport. Another thing to build leaders is you have to have a crystal clear vision. Your leaders, the people you're trying to impart your wisdom on, they have to be able to articulate a crystal clear vision. And it has to be one and the same. The vision for the individual leaders and the vision for the company and the vision for yourself all have to be in alignment. They can't be different visions, but they have to be able to have a crystal clear vision. Where do they see themselves? Help them. Teach them. Another thing on how to build leaders is you must include the people who you're trying to train to be key leaders in your organization within your strategic meeting. You have to. Your strategic planning meeting must keep those individuals who you see as playing a key part in the leadership of your organization. They must be included. I don't care if they're brand new coming into the door. I don't care if they've been there for 60 years. Whoever that person is, they have to be involved in the strategic meeting. Why? Well, we spent so many episodes talking about strategic meeting, the strategic planning meeting, and we understand that in that strategic planning meeting, the goal is to be able to come out of that meeting and be able to disseminate the information across all channels of your business. And the leaders are able in that meeting to hear the pros, the cons, the SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Your leaders are able to do that. So if you're building leaders, have them involved in your strategic planning meeting.
You are listening to Financially Simple, destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner.
Another thing you do is you cross-train, you train, and you teach. Your leaders need to know more than their own positions. They need to understand what it's like to be in the rank and file. I love the series Undercover Boss. I don't even know if it's still in place anymore. I can remember watching the one episode that I thought was great. It was watching the CEO of Waste Management Company go undercover. He got to ride on the trash truck. He got to go to the dump. He got to deal with the junk that these people deal with. He dealt with the assembly line. He dealt with the payroll. He dealt with everything. No one knew he was the CEO. I thought that was powerful because it was showing even the CEO how to cross-train. See, maybe it's like me, and I hate answering the phones. I got to tell you, I think I'd soon poke a needle in my eye to answer the telephone. I hate them. I don't mind talking on them, but I just hate answering the phones because that means I got to be nice to somebody on the other side. It's just my thing. I don't know. But I have to know how to do it. I have to know how to make simple trades. I have to know how to do paperwork. I have to know how to enter data into our planning software, even though we have team members who do that. I have to know how to. They do try to teach me this one CRM system, and they want me to know all the details of it. I'm a little obstinate about it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just sticking my foot in the sand, almost like a donkey, just stiff leg, come pull me out of this. But the point is that you cross-train. You teach your leadership multiple avenues of your business. And if you're training leaders, you say it again and again. And again and again and again. You keep saying it. What is it? You say the goals again and again. You say the mission again and again. You say the instructions again and again. They say repetition is the mother of all learning. If you're training leaders, you have to be repetitive. You have to constantly repeat yourself. Another thing you can do if you're training leaders is you can ask and implement opinions, insight, and suggestions. Not just ask for them, but you ask and implement opinions, insights, and suggestions. Even if you have to give the team members the answers to your questions, you still ask for them to regurgitate them. Now, you're not going to say, hey, I'm going to ask you a question about how to accomplish this. Here's the answer that I want you to give me back. No, you talk about it. Talk about it in casual conversation. You may say, I believe we need to move into this particular territory. Here's why. You drop that out somewhere amongst the team. Then when you're in your strategic planning meeting and you ask your team, hey guys, what do you think about? And someone says, I'm thinking that we probably should move into this particular territory. You know what? That's a great idea. I'd like to hear your insights on that. Why do you think that? Let them just repeat the information. But you ask and you implement opinions, insights, and suggestions. Believe it or not, folks, me and you, the business owner, we do not know everything. We don't. In fact, some of us are downright lousy leaders. We actually have better team members on our team who are better leaders than us. So let's use the intellectual capital of our team to the company's advantage or the organization's advantage. Another thing you can do is joint accountability. Many times people will view the business owner as the individual sitting in the high office with a big window, feet up on the desk, sitting back thinking they've got it made. They don't realize the stress we're under many times, but that's what they view. What you can do is you can ask others in your organization to hold you accountable, and you can hold them accountable. Another thing we can do is we can work on joint responsibilities. You can lay out some particular very tough assignments, and you can stretch the person you want to be a leader beyond their capabilities, their own capabilities. Let them learn they can do it. Now help them, but do it jointly. I have a team member who will remain unnamed, but this individual had very, very low competencies in the particular area I was asking them to work. And I was asking them to do some things, and it was just frustrating this individual beyond no end. It took some time and a little bit of love and a little bit of soft love and, some hand holding and some that attaboys. But now where that individual thought it was very impossible to accomplish through joint responsibility, I asked them to do something. They asked me to do something, the same thing. We worked together to accomplish the goal. Now this individual is rightfully leading this organization in this one area better than anybody else. It's unbelievable. Just a little bit of joint responsibility. And then if you're a leader and you're trying to build leaders, listen to this one. Give the credit to the team and bear the responsibilities of the team. There's not one person in this world who has got to where they are by themselves. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. And right now, if your neck is bristled and your hair is standing on end saying, but Justin, you don't understand. I have built this company through my blood, sweat, and tears, brother. No one else has helped me. Let me rephrase it. Let me say what I said again. There is not one person on this planet who has got to where they are by themselves. I'm sorry, there's not one person on this planet. You give credit to the team and you bear the responsibilities of the team. Friends, you didn't get to where you are by yourself. Let's start off from the basics. You were birthed into this world. You had a mama and daddy who fed you. Somebody cared for you. Somebody made sure you had clothes. Somebody made sure you had food. You're alive today because somebody cared for you. Maybe it wasn't a mom and daddy. Maybe it was an adopted man. Maybe it was an orphan. I have a client who's an orphan. But somebody cared for you. You did not get to where you are by yourself. You said, well, Justin, I built this business by myself. No, you have customers that helped you get to where you're at. You have suppliers. You have employees. You have a college professor. You have Up here in high school, you have a book, you have a radio show, something has implanted in your mind. So with that, friend, give credit to the team. Never take credit for yourself. We did not do this. Yeah, we're the ones taking the risk. Yes, I get it. I live it, friend. I live it. But it's your team. Your team. Use a team. We're a team. You, because you're the owner, is not any better than anybody else. You're a team. You give the credit to the team. That is a characteristic of a leader. Whenever you do that, your team will see that, and they will themselves become leaders. And whenever something comes up that requires responsibility to be bared, you are the person who bears the responsibility of the team. Because everything rises and falls on leadership. If an order is missed, ultimately it's your responsibility. I'm going to tell you why. Because you didn't have the systems in place to make sure the order was missed. That's probably because you hired the wrong person for the team. There we go. So give credit to whom credit is due, and you always bear the responsibility of the team. When you do that, you impact your team and you're building leaders. How do you know all this works? I call it evidences of competency. If we go back up to the statement earlier, it was talking about competencies. It was, how do we create competencies? Here's the evidence. There is a clearly defined and understood vision and direction amongst every party in the organization. If there is a clearly defined, understood vision and direction, then leadership is being taught and caught. If there is multi-level, multi-directional communication taking place, then leadership is working. You're having competency. Instead of just flowing from the top, from the executive office, down all the way down to the rank and files. If now you have the rank and file, the toilet cleaner, the person who's standing at the assembly line, the person who's doing the data entry, if they're bringing solutions to frontline problems up chain, then you have multi-level, multi-directional competencies that leadership is working. If your front line knows how to connect and influence, then you have competency in your leadership training. If solutions and innovations are coming from the front line, like I mentioned earlier, then your leadership training is working because your front line members are being leaders. If there's trust from front line, top line, sideways, all across the organization, if trust is there, then leadership is working. You're making some strides into the area of leadership. If you can document things moving positively, maybe it's a lower return policy or widget return. Maybe it is a higher improved efficiency rate. Whatever it is, then you can prove that competency amongst your leadership training is there. So friends, you can build leaders within your organization. You can. I'll leave you with this last statement one more time. The most effective measure of leadership is the performance of the team in your absence. How effective is your leadership? And with that, I'd like to welcome you to join the Financially Simple Podcast newsletter. Like I mentioned every week, this is some of the best writing I do. You know, if you have questions, some of the best ways to reach me is through the social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're everywhere just about. You can find us. Reach out, leave me a question. If you love the show, like the show, share it with a friend. Like I say every week, life is hard. It is. Life is good and life can be frustrating. Money doesn't have to be. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Hey, y'all go out and create a great day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple Podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.